Thanks for tuning in to the Football Talk Squadron. I'm Dutch.
And I'm Maul.
And this week, we're going to do a little special mini episode over the Reggie Bush Heisman drama that's going on.
Give it back.
Yeah, 100% give it back. If you are ready to tune into an episode where we just hate on the NCAA, this is the episode, because I'm going to go hard in the paint, and I got a feeling you're probably going to
Listen, as a USC fan who grew, watching Reggie Bush, that man was an idol in our eyes. And you're gonna just take it away from him. It didn't make him a better football player.
I'm not even a USC fan. However, I remember still growing up, and as not a USC fan, you turned on the USC game to watch Reggie Bush.
Yeah, it's the most electric dude on TV at any given point. It was just fun to see somebody do what he could do on a football field.
But just as living on the East Coast growing up, so I remember staying up till 10 p.m. to watch him start playing, because I still remember staying up, I think it was till midnight, watching him run all over Fresno State.
Dude, it's one of those things where it was where were you when Reggie Bush I remember exactly where I was, dude. We were in a local bowling alley doing a midnight bowl, with some friends, and we stopped bowling because we were watching the game because it was so fantastic.
What's funny is I remember I was in middle school at the time watching that, and I think back to that going, man, I still remember going out on the practice field during that season and trying to do the stop on the sideline and go, and it was no, I didn't work out.
Dude, it's so funny because that was a while ago, right?
Yeah.
That was 17, 18 years now,
yeah.
right? I don't want to say
I guess I was in high school.
Guys have gotten bigger, faster, stronger. Things have happened since then. You go back and watch that back step now, and you're that was a pretty good move. I just remember when it happened.
It was the first time you saw it.
It was it was OBJ's catch, right? People have had catches kind of like that since, but it was that was a revolutionary type juke move. Dudes at Madden were oh my God, we got to program that into the game. It wasn't a juke move until Reggie Bush did it, and you're you can just step backwards like that?
I never thought
of that.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
The best thing in the world watching him play that year. But, before we get into it, do our annual past and present. So are you wanting present or past first?
Let's do present first.
Okay, present. Eastern Illinois
Okay.
goes the Pats, the Niners, and then the Raiders.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Dang it. God bless. The problem is given Eastern Illinois, there's not many guys, and then, yeah.
There's two of them.
I hate you. Yeah, who's the other?
Tony Romo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny because I think Jimmy ended up beating all of his records and what's even sadder is they've sort of had the same career. In terms of, I think both of them good quarterbacks, but at the same time, they've never been able to. Now, Jimmy actually did more than Romo did, got him to a Super Bowl.
It's funny because I actually think Tony is a better quarterback. Yeah.
I think if Tony had not been on the Cowboys and been on the 49ers that year that they played Kansas City, they probably win.
All he had to do was catch and set.
Oh, well, oh my gosh. God, I still, as someone who hates the Cowboys, pure bliss. Oh my goodness.
Those are those things that you're praying for, but you don't actually expect it to happen.
And then it cinched it when Terrell Otis was that's quarterback. And you're just breathe it in. Those tears taste good.
I remember watching it and thinking, what if he just missed this field goal? And then he botches the snap, and you're do I have powers?
Oh, my goodness. Nothing better than watching the Cowboys just absolutely blow it. And they continue to do it for the past 25 years. It's the joke that won't stop telling itself. All right, so then going.
It's this summer.
Oh.
Peaked in the 90s.
Yeah, peaked in the 90s. Temps are spicy this week. But anyways, talk about things that were good in the past. Player. The Nigerian Nightmare. Christian Okoye. I'm not sure if you even remember him.
No.
Playing with.
I remember the name. I can kind of picture him, but
Where do you go to school?
My initial reaction would be like to somewhere like USC because it sounds kind of like a Polynesian island type of name, and that's who we like to recruit. But I have no idea because I know he didn't go to USC.
Azuna Pacific.
Azusa Pacific.
Yeah. Well,
Azusa Pacific's in Southern California, so
I didn't. Really?
Yeah.
You grew up down there. So
they recruited me to play football and baseball for them. I found out.
I did not.
Yeah,
that's unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because, God, you got recruited by these like wild schools.
Well, they're an NAIA school. They're not even
I'm talking
NCAA.
about that and Yale. Like you sit back and I'm like, how did they get the tape? Now it makes sense. I'm sitting there like, you got recruited by them? Oh, they're in Southern Cal. Because if you had before I didn't look it up where they were at, I would have said the same thing. I thought it was like the islands, like out there in Guam or something. Like that's where I would have put him. But I mean, wow. So, but he was a beast.
I had bigger aspirations back then. I thought I was going to be on the cover of NCAA.
Oh.
So
didn't we all? Yeah. Get the Madden curse.
I'm going to play with myself on PlayStation.
Yeah, I build a player now.
Yeah.
So those are the only dreams I get to live.
I was always 6'5" in those games.
Oh. And I ran a 4.2.
Yeah.
You know? God, man, talk about a time of video games growing up. I think the thing that I still get reminded of before we go into the Reggie Bush one, now sitting back at video games, if you haven't looked at this commercial, go back and watch it. It's still one of my favorite football commercials of all time. It's the Mike Vick experience.
Yes.
Dude, what? Like, I remember watching that.
Genius.
Yes.
Whoever came up with that. But it was fantastically done, too.
That's a commercial that I guarantee you haven't seen in over a decade. Go watch it. Do yourself a favor. You'll sit back and you'll remember that period of time where he was just running all over teams.
He was the Bo of Tecmo Bowl. It was the unstoppable cheat code in Madden 04.
Which, I mean, it's a perfect transition of unstoppable cheat code because that's what Reggie Bush was.
Yep.
Like when you look at that year, and I think this is where, so Reggie, for those of you who aren't read into it, he is suing the NCAA for pretty much defaming his name.
About time.
Well, yes, 100%. The NCAA took away, now they're going to say Reggie Bush voluntarily gave back his Heisman, which he did in 2010, 5 years after the award. And it's because
they told him to.
Yes. They said you're not keeping the trophy. And the NCAA, I don't know why the NCAA does this, but instead of taking a school like USA and being like, hey, you had these major recruiting violations, we're going to fine you $50 million, something that actually hurts USC. They go, oh, do you remember all those games and the championships you won? Yeah, our website isn't going to show that anymore.
Yeah. Well, the thing that drives me nuts about it, one, they're inconsistent, right? Like with the thing going on with Michigan, they like let the perpetrators essentially like negotiate what their penalty is going to be, right? And then it's just so inconsistent across the board. Like everybody was doing it. We 100%. All know they were all doing it. I'm not saying that makes it right? It's not like the whole, if everybody's doing the wrong thing, then it's right. Like I'm not saying that, but like have some consistency across the board. And then the problem, again, with like a USC fan, you waited until all the guys that were actually creating the violations, you wait till they're all gone and USC's on the decline, and then you go, them. Oh, well, now we're going to take away scholarships, and now we're going to do all this. Who does that hurt? That doesn't hurt Pete Carroll. That doesn't hurt Reggie Bush. That doesn't hurt Lendell White, Matt Leinart. They still went all into the pros and did their things. That only hurt the guys that weren't even there. That are now trying to play at USC and get their shot, and you just screwed over them.
Which I find it funny, too, that when the NCAA takes away scholarships from a program, like, who are you hurting? You're not hurting the school. You're hurting the kid.
Yeah.
Like, someone on the team's now playing, and they don't get a scholarship. Because let me tell you, they're still filling out the roster. But you got guys out there who are literally grinding every single day in the weight room, every single day on the practice field, doing all those travels because what? Because like ultimately the whole Reggie Bush thing comes down to, it wasn't like Reggie was taking steroids.
No, it didn't make him a better player.
Reggie was like paying off refs. Reggie was getting money. That's the alleged violation for his family to like live in
It
LA.
was to help support his family, be near him so that he, would, and I get it. They'd say, oh, well, if they weren't offering that up, Reggie would have never probably went to USC because he wanted to stay near his family. And then, yeah, he might have not have been the Reggie Bush that we know because he wasn't at USC at that time. And I get
But that money helped him zero when making that dude look stupid.
He's not making that cutback like, thinking about, I'm glad I got $30,000 in my bank. That's not how it works.
Well, the sad thing is like then, so the Johnny Manziel doc came out a few weeks ago, and it's like you watch that, and it's like he openly says, now the NCAA will come out and be like, well, he took it after he got the Heisman, and I want to be like,
it's either against the rules or it's not.
And the idea, he literally admitted that he didn't go to class. I had my 4th-string quarterback do my classes for me, and it's like you don't see A&M taking away his diploma, and you don't see the NCAA coming down.
Because A&M's not in the conversation right now. They're not a big school. They don't care. Nobody cares. They know the NCAA, if they did anything, it wouldn't even make headlines because they don't care.
You don't see them taking away Johnny Manziel, Texas A&M's wins during that time
period.
And I sit back, and this is where we sort of go back and forth on this. Like the NCAA and their ability to like regulate, it's over in college football.
They're ruining college football
from
like a fan's perspective because it's just, especially with NIL deals right now. It's like,
oh my goodness.
If a guy can get a $10 million, signing deal with Kool-Aid, but you're gonna take away Reggie Bush's Heisman because it was against the rules back then. Like it's just so.
It's the dumbest thing in the world.
Doesn't make any sense when you go back and punish teams with wins, but you won't go back and just go, hey, look. If I saw an article the other day, it was like if Reggie Bush was in. If NIL was like it is now with Reggie Bush was back there, he'd be bringing in like $3 to $5 million a year.
Millions.
For and it's just, but you're going to take his Heisman and won't give it back to him.
And then the thing that makes me so mad is now we're over 15 years removed from this.
Yeah.
Like 18 going into this year. The fact that we're still trying to act like he doesn't deserve that Heisman.
Not even that he deserves a Heisman, that he never went to USC.
Yeah, it's like it never existed.
Ties. Like,
I went on the Heisman website just to
so
take a
petty.
look. It doesn't even say his name. Like it literally goes
so petty.
04, 06. And it devalues the Heisman. Like it devalues the whole institution when you do that, because ultimately he was the best player.
And it's not like you've erased everybody's memory. Everybody knows he won. Like he won the Heisman. If you ask who won the 05 Heisman, everybody's going to say Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush.
Everybody knows he won. You don't get to take that away. Sure, he doesn't have the trophy, but he was the Heisman Trophy winner. Like, give me a break here.
Yeah. So it's typical NCAA, the taking wins, which I sort of like. I look at and I go, it's literally the dumbest thing.
It means nothing.
And you look at and this is where I just say, look at pro football and how they handle things. Like when pro football's like, hey, you messed up, pocketbook. Or you don't get a first-round draft pick. Like the Dolphins this past year didn't get a first-round draft pick. And that hurts. Like it affects their wallet. It affects their team. Like you affect the future. The NCAA, and this is the problem, the NCAA holds no power. So all they can do is affect the past. And guess what? You can't rewrite history. History's over. Give the man back his Heisman and move forward. Because ultimately right now, if you want to be dead honest, the NCAA needs to come out and say, we were wrong for not letting kids profit off of themselves.
Yeah.
Like, you're literally making this kid go to class. I remember, it's funny, they're punishing Harbaugh. They're trying to say that it's not about this. It's about other things, this hamburger incident.
It's a cheeseburger!
Yeah. He gave, for those of you who don't know, the whole hamburger incident in Michigan is that Harbaugh, during the no-contact COVID period, bought a recruit a cheeseburger, which when you think about that, you go, my man was hungry. He's on a recruiting visit.
So you can get $10 million for signing up for Kool-Aid, but you can't get a cheeseburger.
Can't get a cheeseburger during
Makes a
recruiting
lot
trip.
of sense.
And that's the NCAA. Like you sit back and you look at NCAA rules. I still remember with us, it was like the meals that you could receive, like it wasn't even a meal. It had to be like a snack. It was like you can get a banana or an apple and like these crackers. And you're like, dude, I just spent 3 hours on a field. Like I've lost 5 pounds.
Yeah, give me a break here. I need some
banana,
food.
Yeah. I need a steak. Like no wonder that he paid for a hamburger. It was just a recruiting trip. Like it's sad. And that's the NCAA. Like you sit back and they're like, well, we need to make it equal across all conferences. Well, let me tell you, if your school can't pay for a guy to have an actual meal, then don't have a football program. Shut down the program. Like, I'm sorry.
You know they're making enough money from tuition and all that stuff since college is crazy right now. But they implement these rules and find these hills to die on that, again, don't make sense because they I don't know what it is. It's not that you can't say that it's not that they don't want these kids to succeed. That's the whole point of the institution. But they're trying to like please everybody and make it so fair that it just makes no sense for anybody.
Yeah. And I mean, just to bring it back to your point, and I think it's something that all of America can at least agree on this. Even if Reggie Bush took the money, the fact that they're targeting him out and trying to act like no one else in the country did, you're crazy. Like, think about, I mean, even at USC alone, I have to imagine that Leinart, Lindell White, all these guys were getting money during that time. And then you go across the team they lost to. You really think Vince Young wasn't like getting paid at Texas? Like, we know Texas has one of the biggest boosters in all of college football. Like, their boosters got Charlie Strong fired. They've like
everybody's been doing it since the beginning of time.
Yes. 100%. And the NCAA to act like just literally Sandra Bullock in the Bird movie being like, oh, I don't see this. Like, I'm not going to acknowledge anything else except Reggie Bush it's heresy. Like, literally take the institution away. And I think that's what's going to happen with super conferences. I think the conferences
just separates itself.
Yeah, they say,
hopefully,
we're going to manage ourselves because you guys do a piss poor job at it. We'll figure it out. You guys go manage baseball.
Yeah.
Like, and let me tell you, you're already doing a terrible
Have
job
fun
of
not
it.
getting any of the money that we're bringing in.
Exactly.
Because it's billions.
Billions of dollars.
With a B. Billions. Yeah.
It just, the NCAA, it is abysmal what they've done to Reggie Bush. And you even take a look at just other things that the NCAA does. Ultimately, do I think that there should be some rules that maybe the NCAA could be a little bit more strict on? 100%. Like, I look at you can transfer year after year after year and immediately play. I think that in some circumstances, like 100%, if a guy wants to leave Notre Dame, go to Southern Cal, and then after Southern Cal, like his mom gets sick or something and needs to go back to Florida, who cares? Like, let the dude go do that. Like, we're all human. Like, let me tell you, coaches do it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you think that this coach...
Yeah, there's no transfer portal for coaches.
Yeah.
They just jump ship and start coaching the next team.
And let me tell you,
Lane Kiffin did it in the middle of the season.
Yeah. And they burnt couches down. And I remember my cousin was going to school there, and he was literally like, no, they literally lit couches on fire in the middle of the street trying to block Kiffin out. He's like, police came, and I'm sure they probably told Kiffin, like, I would probably never come back to this state. And the first time he does come back to the state,
they throw golf balls at him.
And mustard. The hatred's still there all these years later. So, yeah, if you're the NCAA president, I would strongly recommend you never show up to Southern Cal because they should hopefully march you right out of that stadium. But, you know, I take a step and look back and go, ultimately for me, I hope that Reggie Bush wins the case. I hope that this at least restores the Heisman, or at least the NCAA just says, hey, if you drop this thing, we'll give you back your Heisman. We'll put you back in the books, as they should.
It's a wrong that needs to be righted in some way.
100%. And I think that
because how it currently stands is a foul.
And if the NCAA isn't going to do it, then the Heisman Trust, like, you're not associated with the NCAA. Let me tell you, the NCAA could come out and be like, we don't support the Heisman anymore. The Heisman Trophy is still going to be the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah,
like,
good luck losing all those dollars.
Yeah, they will be around for the next 100 years. And I guarantee you, this is the most important thing. If you really want to get an idea on if he deserves the Heisman, go ask all the other Heisman Trophy winners. Like,
yeah, let them vote on it.
I guarantee you it would be 100% of those guys would say, give Reggie his Heisman back.
Yeah.
100%.
Let's do that. We'll do a poll as well. We'll put a poll on this video for
we'll throw a poll out there on
whether
Instagram.
You think Reggie deserves his Heisman back.
100%. So ultimately, you know, we just wanted to give a quick rant, hate on the NCAA, which is always good. We get a little hate on the Cowboys and a few other things. So never can pass up watching Cowboy fans be miserable. But outside of that, got anything else?
Fight on, baby.
Cool. Roll Tide. But anyways, give Reggie his Heisman back. Thanks for tuning in. It's time to pull chalks. Get out. See you next time.